There are skill sets in Counter-Strike that you wouldn't think to learn, or at least it's not the first to come to mind. And whereas most people have a basic understanding on it, the economy in Counter-Strike has a learnable system, and if done so, can be the reason you outplay your opponent and read their next move. In a game with so much emphasis on reading your opponent's intentions, the economy is an untapped vein leading straight to the heart of your enemy's plans. In layman's terms, if you know roughly what the enemy's buy is looking like, you can gain obvious intel as to what they can and can't do. And the same goes for the other way around. Knowing when to buy, eco, half buy or force is very important in keeping your economy consistent and sustainable. We want to make sure everyone's economy follows the same motion, meaning we have to buy and eco together. Buying into a round is kinda like investing money into a startup business. You're banking on that business doing well so you can make your money back and continue investing in the future. But much like a startup business, a round of Counter-Strike requires more than one player's investment. It requires a full coordinated team with the necessary resources to ensure the highest chance of success. And when you're in this mindset, there's nothing more annoying than when someone buys when everyone else is saving. Counter-Strike is a team game. Your money isn't your money, it's the team's money. So if you've got 8k and your mate has 2, don't buy an AWP, you silly head. Drop your mate an AK. Before we delve deeper into the economy, let's look at how it works. Our main source of income flows in at the end of each round, and we make passive income with the kills we get and planting the bomb if you're a T side. This is how much you receive at the end of the round as a CT player, and this is what the T side equivalent is. This one, however, increases by $500 for each round we lose consecutively, until we reach $3,400. And if we win a round, this goes down by $1,000. But honestly, just open up the scoreboard and right click, and then hover your mouse over these little lines here, and it has all the information you need. I think the economy is really interesting. It's a structured system that you can learn, but the outcome will be different each time because of the game's situational nature and endless possibility. So obviously, you can find yourself in many circumstances where you're unsure whether you should buy or eco. On an eco round, we're basically surrendering the round so we can have more money for the next one. And when we do this, people usually say, don't go below 2k. And whereas this works in many cases, if we have $1,400, then there's no way we can afford to buy after just one eco. There are two choices and outcomes that can happen here. The first is that we eco and hedge our bets on planting the bomb so everyone receives an $800 bonus. And the second is that we force buy and have more of a chance of winning than we would have on the eco. Both of these have uncertain outcomes, but considering both of the worst case scenarios lead to us having to eco the following round, then there's not much point in us saving on the first one, because it would just be a wasted opportunity. There's obviously exceptions to this, like if someone wants to buy an AWP, they might save when you force. And there are also many strategies for force buys, like a hero AK, which is where someone uses all their money to drop an AK to a teammate and play the round around them. There are numerous ways to approach these rounds depending on what side you're on, and in my opinion, they create for some of the most fun rounds of CS I've ever had. If you're on a hard eco, playing as a group will almost always be your best option, since it's very unlikely that you can take down an armoured player alone. This means no baiting. On the T side, it's quite self-explanatory, since you can control the pace of the round by rushing, faking sights, or even having a lurker listen for rotations. But on the CT side, it's going to be a bit harder because if you want to stick together as a group, then you're going to have to play retake on one of the sites. To counter this, people often nade stack and rush in an attempt to gain that control back. Or another option, and my personal favourite, is an Astralis stack, which is basically where you gamble stack and make a huge tower, and then you wait for someone to peek. And to be honest boys, this works a surprising amount. People see 5 USPs and get greedy, but when you're all stacked up together, they can't really spray you all down. But on these eco strats, I think it's important to be very mobile around the map. The enemy will either predict that you're on an eco, or they'll instantly find out as soon as they see one person. And let's be honest, if you see 5 CTs rushing B, you're instantly gonna go A. So being 2 steps ahead can really catch people off guard in these rounds, since you're forcing their next move to be reactive, which is an opportunity for you to be proactive. I actually think there's a really cool discussion to be had about proactiveness and reactiveness in the context of problem solving, and I'd really like to make a video highlighting it in the future. But let me know in the comments if you'd like to see that, because I'm happy to make it if you want to see it. If you want an example for this within the example, if the CTs nade stacked B, and then had 3 or 4 people rotate to A, they might beat the T side there, or at least be a bit closer than they'd expect. It's kinda like herding a flock of sheep really, innit? But not all ecos and force buys should call for a crazy strat. For example, if you're a T side and you get the bomb down on the pistol, but lose that pistol round, then you're gonna have enough money to get a pretty decent force buy. And since the CT side have more expensive weapons and utility, you can have enough investment to compete in the round, so it might be a better option to play a more traditional round without having to pull off any wacky strat. Something else I should mention though, is the weapon choices when you force. Sometimes you might just be short of being able to buy, so you want to invest a little bit into this round, but effectively save enough to buy the next. This is a half buy, and since we have more money to spend, we have more options, and certain weapons grant higher kill bonuses. More experienced players, including myself, can be too stubborn to ever buy a shotgun, but on a half buy, getting $900 for 1 kill is so good for the economy. And the same goes for SMGs, you get $600 a kill, so if you killed 2 people, you're not only having huge impact on the round, but you've also made your money back before your main source of income. With the utility and rifles being cheaper on the T side, it's easier to commit to a force buy and keep the pressure consistent throughout the whole half. But on the CT side, a full buy really does feel like an investment, especially when you buy head armor, a kit, and the more expensive weapons and utility. It can feel counterintuitive to force when you have no money, but trust me, it's worth it. And also, as a CT player, if you know the enemy has a full buy, then you don't really have to buy head armor, since you'll likely be facing an AK, which is a 1-bullet headshot anyway, so yeah. But honestly, the most important thing is to remember all the information you need is available on the scoreboard, so if you need to, you can always manage your economy a few rounds ahead. But a common problem I see in the lower levels is that people aren't buying on the pistol round. This blows my mind, but I can understand why you would think it's the right move. And not to be harsh, but it comes down to fear. You see, the reason you're saving is so that you can buy in the 2nd or 3rd round if you lose the pistol. But that in itself defeats the purpose of not buying. If you need the money so you can compete in the economy pool, then you should realise that in the pistol round, everyone has the same amount of money. So starting yourself on a bad footing to capitalise on your own loss doesn't make any sense. You should invest all your money into the pistol round, because that is the opportunity. And if you feel like you're not the best pistol player, try just buying a full belt of utility and support your team, or drop some upgraded pistols for the boys. Because we have to learn to adapt to the pistol round, since it's possibly the most important round in the game. But when you find yourself in the mid to late game stages, there are situations where the round is simply unwinnable and you just save your weapons. With CS2 having fewer rounds in each game, it's arguably more important to save so that you don't have to waste a round with an eco or a force buy. I understand it can be really hard to admit defeat when you're still alive in a round, but it can plant a seed of impact for the following one. Much like if someone on the enemy team was saving, you should check the scoreboard and see how their loss bonus is and how many people have survived the recent rounds. It'll give you a good idea on whether they need the weapon to buy next round, and if you can fuck their economy by killing them. This needs to be weighed up against your own economy, and determined whether it's worth the potential loss to your own funds whilst trying to hunt the saving players. But overall, I think if you learn the economy and just keep tabs on it at the start of each round, over time you'll start to think of the game more introspectively, and it'll naturally build into a habitual way of thinking, which in turn will improve your overall game sense. But yeah, I guess I'll chat to you for a bit longer. I feel like I haven't done this in a while, but thank you so much for all the support recently. Honestly, we've flown into 2024 on a high and we're just keeping it going. We've been streaming regularly, enjoying the videos, and continuing to grow the little community we've got here. And to be honest boys, I was watching the confidence video the other day and reflecting on the fact that I'd written a thank you to the 1 subscriber I'd gained, and now, just a few months later, there's like half the M&S arena in here. It's bloody mad. But seriously though, it's an honour to have the ability to make videos for such a lovely group of individuals. So yeah, let's fucking have it.